think early December or so. I got a lot of questions, people just wanting to find out, this is my results, can I go to the university, this is my results, do I need to reset, and all of that. And so I realized that it would be good to do a live mentorship session. Fortunately for all of us, a lot of your friends followed me and have liked this page, and so we have enough people to start a live session. So so today I'm going to be sharing some research that I have found sorry for my voice, about what you can do per your specific situations. So I'm going to speak to those that your results were not too good, but maybe you want to do health course like nursing or pharmacy and those sorts of things, but you realize that you don't meet the cutoff point. What do you do? Those of you also who generally you don't even really know what career you want to do, you don't know what course you want to do, but you're just sad that your results are not good. We'll speak also about what options you have. And then lastly, for those that you passed your exams, you got admissions, but there is no financial support to continue, we'll also talk about what your options are, right? And so I'm just going to share a short prayer. Thank you, Jesus, for today. I pray that you would make this useful, you make this helpful to everybody that's joining, and help us all to learn from each other and to be encouraged. In Jesus' name, amen. So you can leave comments as I speak. You can leave questions if you have any of it. So I'm going to start by saying that I did a bit of research, right? And if you look at the World Economic Forum, I don't know how many of you know the World Economic Forum, but the World Economic Forum is one of the bodies that do a lot of research, and they are key in determining how a lot of things move across nations. In one of their research, which is tagged the future of work, a lot of the skills of the future need people who are self-starters, need people who can learn by themselves, need people who can build skills on their own. It does not put, value on those who go to school more than those who do not go to school. Right? In school, in this case, I'm talking about the university education, right? So it's important for you to understand that the WASSCE results is just a reflection of a fragment of your life. You have stayed in a place for 3 years. You have been asked to account for the things you studied. It doesn't mean that because you couldn't pass some specific examinations, you do not have any potential in life. You cannot build a career that you want. You cannot build the businesses that you want. That is far from the truth. And that is one thing I want to establish from today. And at this point, that in this place on my page, I speak to your talents, I speak to your potential, I speak to your strengths. I'm not looking at the academic results. You might say maybe mine was good and I went to the university and whatnot. That is not the point at this time, right? Because back then, maybe I finished senior high school maybe some 12 years ago, I think. Back then, it was important for everybody to go to the university, go through the system and all of that. But now you have so many other options. There are people doing awesome stuff, especially since TikTok came in 2020. So many people have gone on to build careers and build communities that have brought value. You have followed this account or you are joining this live because there's something of value I have said that has encouraged you, that has helped you understand life a bit better. And these are not things that I picked up from school, right? I did computer science, by the way, in KNUST. But these are not things I picked up from classroom, KNUST classroom. These are things I picked up from the theater groups I was in on campus, from the extracurricular activities, the things organized by other companies that came around. These are things I picked on the go, right? And I just want you to understand that your results do not say anything about your life. What happens in your life is dependent on what you decide to make out of your life. And so I'm going to start by speaking to those that some people have reached out. I had an E8 in maths, I had an E8 in science, I didn't do it on my core subjects and all of that. So what are the options available? So first of all, there is the path for you to go as a technician, right? One thing you also need to understand about university courses is that not all of them lead to a specific career path. right? You do something like psychology, Spanish, Chinese, dondology. There is no clear-cut career path for those things, unlike maybe if you do something like medicine or nursing or pharmacy or engineering, even computer science. I did computer science, but my career has been mainly marketing and then people management, which is very separate from what I studied in school, right? So it's important for you to understand that you can move forward regardless of what your career goal is and regardless of what your results are. So for those of you that your grades were not too good, you can start looking for technician courses. So technical universities, Accra, Tamale, Takoradi, Ho, Koforidua, all of these are technical universities. And you can do mechanical engineering, auto vehicle engineering, electrical engineering. Some of these other engineering courses you can do in the in the technical universities. They are more focused on building your skill, but then adding all the other theory you need. But when you graduate from a technical university, what we used to call polytechnics in the past, you have skills that you can use to work or build your own business. And so I found out that for schools like the Kumasi Technical University, you can do things like agribusiness and finance, computerized accounting, banking, and small business management. Something like small business management is a huge deal because most of the businesses in Ghana are small businesses, right? And so it's very important that you understand how to manage those small businesses. You've seen the house cocoa sellers that have built big shops. You've seen the supermarkets. All those things are small business management things. And so if you go and study something like that in school, there's immediate value that you can offer to businesses, that you can offer to organizations, right? You can offer to organizations. So that is one route you can go, which is the technical universities. So look for Accra Technical University, Koforidua, Tamale, Takoradi, Kumasi Technical University. So look for their websites online and then read more about the options that are available on there. And so for those of you that are also thinking of doing a RESIT, right? I am not in favor of RESITs. I'm not going to lie about that because I have known somebody closely who did a RESIT for 4 times. So that's 4 good years of her life just wasted, all because she wanted to get into nursing school. And so she wanted to keep writing until she got it right. But eventually she had to stop writing because she ran out of money and it got more expensive. She's now started her own salon and she does cleaning part-time, and the salon is moving. She's getting customers. She's been able to, rent for herself, build the kind of life she wants to live. She's not at her apex of the life she wants to live, but she's comfortable and she's able to take care of herself, And then I know another person also who, instead of doing a NOVDEC, went to join, an ongoing stream of WASSCE students in a private school. The person had an A1 in literature in their WASSCE. But when they went to rejoin another school to write, the A1 in literature became a C because the person's focus was on trying to make the other subject that they didn't do too well in. They tried to improve, their performance in those subjects. By the grace of God, one way or the other, the person, although they didn't get a pass mark, they were still able to get into school. They graduated top of their class and they are doing very well in their career now. And so I am not a proponent of RESIT. Instead of resitting, I would rather you go the route of developing technical skills. Look, there is not going to be an end to making outfits. If you want to think about it, there are churches that do uniforms for their choir, uniforms for their ushers, uniform for their pastors. There are churches, there are people getting married every week that have need for caterers, that have need for events planners and coordinators, that have need for photographers, videographers. All these technical skills are not things that you would necessarily learn in a school environment. Even if you learn the theory in the school environment, you still need to go out to practice. So for me, from where I sit, instead of going to spend money doing a resit, why don't you invest in getting a certificate from NVTI? So that's the National Vocational and Technical Institute. So there is such a partnership such that if you get a certificate 1 or a certificate 2, you can be able to apply for a diploma or an HND in the technical universities. And if you are so conscious about getting academic education, you have the opportunity to do that. So instead of doing a RESIT, I would suggest that you try the NVTI route, where they are in all the regions in Ghana. So just look for their offices all across Ghana. I got some of these data, so after the live I'll put those also in the comments, just so that you can reach them and find out what options they have available. Then the second thing that you can do instead of doing a RESIT is for you to try to do a diploma. Okay, so there are almost all the universities in Ghana offer diplomas. The technical universities also offer diplomas. The private universities offer diplomas. So look for the schools that have diplomas and then look through their cutoff points and see if you are able to get into these programs. When you do a diploma, you can do a top up and then continue into your degree if you are so crazy about having a degree, right? So that's another route you can go. Instead of going to waste so much money doing a RESIT, try to find out more about the diploma parts and then invest in that aspect. And so for the technical universities, Tamale Technical University and Accra Technical University specifically, they have something called access courses. So it is a semester-long intensive where you are learning English, maths, and science, but you need to have a technical or vocational background. So for instance, if you did a technical course or a vocational course in SHS and your results are still not too good, but you have that background, you can sign up to Tamale Technical University or Accra Technical University to get the access courses where you learn English, maths, and science intensively. You pass and then you get the opportunity to apply for an HND in a science or an engineering related field. So this is for somebody who maybe you did auto in a place like KSTS, Koforidua Secondary Technical School, and then you want to do, let's say, mechanical engineering, but your results are not too good to go straight into a mechanical engineering degree. You can decide to go this route, find out from Accra Technical University or Tamale Technical University, go through their access course, right? And then you get an opportunity to do an HND. From the HND, you can do a top up, and then you get your degree in the engineering field or the science field. So I've said two things to those of you who are considering a RESIT. Instead of resitting, try to find out about the NVTI courses that are available, and then also look at the diploma option, and finally look at doing the pre-HND access courses in Accra Technical or Tamale Technical University so that you can get access to the HND. That's for those of you that are considering a RESIT. So this is an option you can go. And then now for those that you have passed, and sometimes maybe you got an admission but you don't have the financial muscle to go to university or to school now, or you have passed but you've not even applied because there's no money. First of all, if you applied, you need to reach out to the school. So look on your admission letter and try to find the contact number of the school. Call them and find out about their deferral policy, because having an admission today doesn't mean that tomorrow or next year when you go, you still have the admission. So you need to find out the procedures and the processes involved in ensuring that your admission remains something that you can take advantage of. So call them, find out if you can defer your admission, and for how long you can defer your admission. I know someone, and this is someone who wanted to do his master's outside the country. They wrote their exam, they passed, they got admission, but they were not getting a visa to go to the country, and so they deferred the admission and they went the following year, and they had gotten the visa, so they went. So you need to find out from the school what their deferral policy is, and so that you can tell them that, oh, maybe this year I cannot come, but I know that I'll be able to come in the next year, or in the next 2 years, and then you follow the due process. So when you finally have been able to raise the money you need to go to school, you don't go to school and they tell you that your admission has expired, right? So that's the first thing that you need to do. Then the next thing is that you have the option, because no matter what it is, you can't go to school now. You're probably going to wait for a year or 2 or 3 or 4 years before you go to school. So what do? You can't sit around for 4 years and be crying that, hey, I can't go to school, I can't go to uni. No, you have to take charge of your life. Adulting has started, and so you have to make decisions to help you move forward. When I was in uni, the guy who topped our class from first year all the way to final year, and he was the best graduating student, he's somebody who had completed SS 4 years before we completed and came to school. And so coming to school, he had worked as a teacher, he had experience, he was mature, right? So he was not worried about all the things we were worried about running around. No, he understood why he was in school, and he was focused, and he just kept just passing. He did well in all his subjects. He was always ready to teach other people and all of that. So don't waste the 1 year or the few years you have at home trying to get into the university. Make sure you are putting it to use. And one of the ways you can do that is to look at professional certification. So if you have some money and you can write the ACCA or the ICAG Ghana, that's for the chartered accountants, you can start that. They allow you to start with your WASSCE results, right? So you can start with that and get that certification. That minimal certification can get you a job as an accounts clerk, or a basic accountant that can work for an organization. Or you can even start your own practice, just helping small businesses in your area do their finances better. And then there is also the Chartered Institute of Procurement Professionals. So if you're interested in supply chain management, procurement, and all of those things, you can apply for the level 1. The level 1 has no formal entry requirements. So you can do that, and then you can get employed for things like purchasing assistants or stock controllers in factories, or in manufacturing firms, or in engineering firms, and all of that. You understand? So you can look at professional certifications. The Chartered Institute of Marketers in Ghana also has an alliance with the Christian Service University in Ashanti region. So you can get skills in marketing as well, even though you have not gone to the university. And with those basic skills, you can start working as a marketing person. A lot of these days, almost every business is trying to get online. And so if you have the understanding of how these things work, you can be able to support them. One of the ways that I broke into marketing, even though I did computer science, was that I learned myself, right? There is an organization called HubSpot, HUBSPOT, HubSpot Academy. So I learned social media marketing, I learned inbound marketing, I learned digital marketing, graphic design. I learned all those things from that place. And that's how I was able to get internships. That's how I was able to get a gig online as a freelance social media marketer. And then I built my skills, and that led me through a whole about 4-year career in digital. And then I moved on to HR. And HR also, I did the same thing. I learned through courses online, EDX, Coursera, all those places. I just learned those things myself. And I make sure that whilst I was learning the technical skills, I was building my soft skills as well. So I go for networking events, I speak up. Let me tell you an interesting story that happened when I was doing my national service. So I saw, a message going around about public speaking training, and I joined. And the first day I went for the training or the events, it was like a network of professionals learning how to do public speaking and all of that. The first day I went, the founder was so eloquent. He was such a great speaker. When we closed, you know what I did? So I just walked to him and I told him that I really like how he speaks, but I'll be a better speaker than him very soon. And that puts my name in his mind. He asked, what's your name? And he took my number. And fast forward about 3 or 4 months later, they wanted to open a chapter in the area I lived and worked. And so I became the chapter secretary for that place. And that was just because I pushed myself to go and speak up. You understand? So it's important that once you are building technical skills, you are building soft skills as well. So get these professional certifications, get this education, and build yourself to be a valuable person that any organization can work with. So we've spoken about, if you have admission, making sure you reach out to the school to ask about deferral and defer, and then looking to professional certification routes. I have mentioned the Chartered Institute for Procurement Specialists, where you can do supply chain management level 1 and get employment as purchasing assistants or stock controllers, amongst many others. The Chartered Institute for Marketers in Ghana also has a partnership with the Christian Service University in the Ashanti region, which can also get you started and skilled in marketing. I also mentioned HubSpot Academy, HUBSPOT Academy, which has free courses for any career you want to do digital. The Digital Marketing Institute, there are just a whole lot of them, right? And then the other thing you can do if you do not have the finances to go to school immediately is to wait and apply for a mature student entry. So usually if you have 2 years work experience, you can apply for a mature student entry in any university. You go through some entrance exams, and once you get in, you're good to go. Or distance education. Those usually have more affordable tuition as compared to the normal stream of the degree. So that's another thing you can consider. And you can also look at the Youth Employment Agency programs. So specifically, they have one that is training in garment making, and you are given a stipend for transportation and all of those things. Of course, you have to confirm if where you live that training is available. So when you go through those training for garment making and textiles, you get absorbed into some of the government agencies that are doing these things, and so you have direct employment. Or you can start your own thing. You can start and set up yourself as a uniform maker for preschools. There are so many preschools all over the country these days, and you can set up yourself as somebody who does that for preschools, and that can be your business that you start, and it can expand into something else. My very first boss after national service had not gone to the university. He just finished SHS, and then he did some computer, those days they call it computer courses, so you learn Word, Excel, and those sorts of things. And he started a printing shop himself. Then when cryptocurrency came, he jumped on the cryptocurrency wagon, and he built a company out of that. And about 8 years down the lane, he was recruiting and employing university graduates, and we were working for somebody who didn't have a university degree. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's important that you are in tune with your natural talents and abilities, and you play to your strengths. Stop focusing on your weaknesses. If academics is your weakness, forget about it and let's move forward. Okay, so if you don't have money to go to school now, you can consider professional certifications. You can apply as a mature student. You can look at the Youth Employment Agency programs available in your area or in your region, and then you can try getting a job as a pupil teacher, as a medicine counter assistant. There are several jobs you can get as a way to grow yourself towards your goal. I've heard stories of people who started out as security men. They took courses and they became bankers and they became CEOs. Those stories are not too far-fetched, especially in a time of AI and technology. You can do anything that you put your mind to. So that's it for those who passed but don't have the finances to move to the university directly. And then now I want to I got a few questions also for people who want to do nursing. They really enjoy caring for people, seeing them healed and all of that, but their results are not too good, so they are not sure whether they can get into a nursing institution. So there are also options available for you if your results are not too good to get into a public nursing especially institution. So there are nurse assistant options. So these are organized by the Ministry of Health. So find the Ministry of Health offices in your region or in your district and find out about the nurse assistant program. So you can come in as a nurse assistant. you'll be registered by the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Ghana, and after you've had about 2 years work experience, you can move on to top up to become a nursing diploma student. So for top up, you can go to Valley View University or CAF College to get your nursing diploma, or any other nursing school that is close to you. Once you have the certificates from the nurse assistant option, you can move on to that. Then there are also community health community health options. So the Health Nurses Training College offers community health nursing options, so you can go through that route as well, get some work experience, and then continue to pursue the kind of nursing that you want to do. And if you are somebody who your results are not too good, you can enter a public nursing institution, but you have the financial muscle to go into a private health college, you should consider that as well, because both the public and the private health institutions are all licensed by the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Ghana, so you can do that as well. Those who are also looking to do pharmacy but the results are not too good, so you can't go directly to doing pharmacy, you can start as a medicine counter assistant. I think that's usually about 6 months. So there are pharmacies that that's provide those services. So you just need to find out a bit more about it. Go to the local pharmacies in your area, find out from the pharmacists maybe if they know any programs like that. One thing about adulthood is that you have to take responsibility for your own life. Your parents, your older siblings, your aunties, your uncles, everybody will be there to guide you, but ultimately the decision to progress or to retrogress is dependent on you. So don't be afraid to step out, ask questions, speak to people, find out if there are opportunities for you to explore those things. So that's for those who want to do health courses but your results are not the best. So for those who want to do nursing, you can consider the nurse assistant option and the community health nurse option, or you can also look at the private health colleges for your nursing options. And for those who want to do pharmacy, you can consider the medicine counter assistant as a starting point. So the final thing that I want to highlight is that there are also, for those of you who are outside Accra and in other regions apart from Accra, there's also the Integrated Community Center for Employable Skills. So these are usually in most districts or in various towns within each region. And so I also found their contact details on all of that. So in the comment section, I'm going to be doing a lot of work. I'm going to go through the details that I have got, add the links and all of those things, so that you can also check it out for yourself. So in the ICCES, which is Integrated Community Center for Employable Skills, you would be taking through vocational training, so carpentry, masonry, dressmaking. Imagine you're in a house without a door. How will you be safe? You're in a house, you can't sit on a stool, you don't have a table. How are you going to survive? So don't look down on all these. I mean, for me, these are critical skills, right? These are critical skills. A lot of offices were shut down during COVID, but construction was still ongoing. Building of roads were still ongoing. Health, all these things were still ongoing. And for me, that speaks to the importance of these skills in our times. A lot of you have access to TikTok. And once you start building something unique and beautiful, you just need to find a niche. A niche is a specific area you want to focus on. So maybe you want to be making chairs for children, you want to be making chairs for disabled people. All those things are ideas you can explore. And you just learn the skill, you add it to it, you are gone. Like you are far, far, far gone. I know that the Germany has an exchange program, but it's for apprenticeship programs like, the carpentry, masonry, and some of these things. They are the ones who get to go on the exchange programs because they are looking for technical skills. It's not, blue collar work or white collar, whichever one it is, like office work. That's what I mean. So if you feel like, you already didn't want to go to school, you just want to go and learn a trade, I'll just advise that you also look for craftsmen that are registered with the Ghana National Tailors and Dressmakers Association, for instance, because when you partner with them, the years you spend learning the trade can also be converted into an NVTI grade 1 or 2 certificate, which can also help you move forward in case you still want to go to a technical university and learn more skills. There are also schools like Don Bosco, GH Media School, DTI. I've forgotten the full name of DTI. There are so many schools and organizations that are around you that are building skills, and I want you to focus on skills over information, because we are in an information age. So it means that information, everybody has access to information, but the difference is your ability to pick that information and use your skill to refine the information to give to others as value. You are here and you are listening to me because I am providing value to you, but all the things that I am telling you are online. I just had to do research. Do you understand? And I could do research because I have built myself in such a way that I want to solve problems. And so if there's a problem to solve, I'll keep asking questions and keep looking for information to make sure I'm able to solve that problem. So I'm just going to go over everything that I have said today, and then I'm going to take questions in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So I started by making you understand that academics is not the way to go. Education is about training, it's not about information, because now everybody has access to information. Your ability to turn that information into something valuable for people is what is going to make you earn income, earn a good reputation, and earn the kind of life you want to live. I'm sure most of you know about Ebo Noah, for instance, and the trouble he got himself into because he wanted to become a star overnight. That is what happens when you don't put your skills to the right use. He is somebody who, for him to think of that, I mean, as well, think about it, right? So just make sure that you are using the information you have access to do valuable things for the community. So that's my starting point. And then I was saying that if you want to do a RESIT, instead of doing that and probably spending the next 3 to 4 years of your life always registering for RESITs, and you do well today in this subject, tomorrow you don't do well, the next day you don't do well, and you see cutoff points depend on the schools. So you could do well this year, but next year it will be too low for you to enter the university. So what happens? You keep writing until thy kingdom come. No, you can't put your life on hold like that. So instead of doing the RESIT, consider NVTI, the National Vocational and Technical Training Institute, and get a skill that can build value for the community you are in. Or you can also look at applying for diplomas. Most universities have diplomas which are not too strict with their cutoff points, but be very mindful of the courses you choose. Don't just say because there's a diploma available, I'm just going to do it. No, don't waste your life and your time and your money on a course that is not going to be valuable to you afterwards. Okay, so that is that. And then you can also wait and do the mature student route. Give yourself some 2 to 3 years working experience, apply as a mature student. The requirements are usually a bit loose at that point, and so you're able to get in. And because you're a mature student, you've matured, and so you understand why you are there. You can give your full attention to the reason why you are there, whilst also building the network and the skills that you need on the side. If you are also from the technical or vocational background and you want to switch into a science or engineering related field, you can also look at the Tamale Technical University or the Accra Technical University pre-HND access courses. They'll take you through a semester of English, Maths, and Science. You write an exam, and then you're able to go and apply for their HND courses in science or engineering. So that's for those of you who are considering a RESIT. For those of you who have passed your exams, but you don't have the finances to continue, or you have passed, you have gained admission, don't have finances to continue, your option is to look at professional certification routes. So I mentioned the Chartered Institute for Procurement Specialist, where you can get a level 1 certification and get employment whilst you figure yourself out. And then there's also the Chartered Institute for Marketers Ghana, who also have a course that you can take in marketing to get yourself skilled. I also mentioned HubSpot Academy, HUBSPOT, as a place. If you have constant internet, that's somewhere that you can build a skill in graphic design, social media management, inbound marketing, even AI prompt engineering. I think some of those courses are also on there. And then finally, you can also look out for the Youth Employment Agency programs to gain some skills that are realistic and offer you employment. So that's for those of you who have passed but don't have finances to move forward. You can also do the mature students approach, but that still needs you to make use of the 1 to 4 years that you have before applying for mature students. And then the next thing I tackled was those who want to do health, nursing, but your results are not too good. You can look at the nursing assistant option. The Ministry of Health is the one that usually organizes these trainings. So you find out more about it from the Ministry of Health offices in your area. And then there's also the community health option. So the Health Nurses Training College provides this option where you can also be a community health nurse. And then you gain practical work experience and you do top up. If you have financial muscle and you want to do nursing or pharmacy, you can also look at the private health colleges. They are also regulated by the same body as the public ones, so it's the same thing you're learning. And then finally, for those of you who are like, look, I'm done with school, I want to build proper skill and earn some good money, you can also start looking at the integrated community centers for employable skills, which are in most regions. You will learn carpentry, masonry, and other available vocational skills, and you can start building your own thing. I know people who I know a friend whom I spoke to this year, encouraged, and now she has come up with her own clothing line. She's making the clothes herself. She did some business course in the university, but after university she still went back to study how to sew with Sima Brew. I don't know how many of you know Sima Brew, but she's a top-notch fashion house in Ghana, and she studied with Sima Brew, and now she has started her own clothing line. And look, there are how many people? More than 30 million people or so in Ghana. You can reach many of those people if you just build the right skills. Because I let her start with social media marketing from HubSpot Academy, like I told you, and then other social media courses. I took her through how to use Canva for designing basic stuff, and she's able to run her own business now and enjoy what she's doing. So that's about it for our mentorship session today. If you have any questions, you can ask your questions now.